Right, just select the option yes in the participants box, the green tick. I would understand. So Deepak has said he's ready to do. He is ready with the process flow. Or you can just write down. Okay, Vinod ji is ready. Satish Banushali is ready. Okay, I'm just waiting for others. Like guys, just select the option yes. So guys, we are live on the YouTube with the lag of 30 seconds. So if someone is not comfortable using Zoom, uh, you can always go to YouTube and look for Confab Pro, and we are live there. Okay, Ashish Karnik is ready. Guys, we need to be a little more quick. Okay, Jaya is ready. Samir is ready. Samir, you can select everyone from the two field, so you do not have to just put me in the private box. Okay, we'll resume in next 2 minutes. So finish creating this particular drawing in next 2 minutes. Right, I think many of you are ready. All right. So now that you have drawn up the basic map of a process, if you need more time, just write more time in the chat box. So I'll wait for you all. Okay, I think people are okay and they are ready. Right. So since you have drawn the basic map of a process, it's time to add some details. Okay. For example, we have to show who or which department is responsible for each task. Okay. And to do that, I want to introduce something called swim lane diagrams. These are also known as Ramdell break diagrams, and these are particularly useful for doing this only. It is useful for creating business processes. Okay, so they clarify who's responsible for each part of the process and show how a task moves between people in different parts of the organization from start to finish. Guys, remember the green button says start and the red button says stop. Okay, they can also help you to identify and improve areas where collaboration and communications are important and reduce inefficiencies. For example, if several people review a piece of work during a process, you might discover that some of these reviews are unnecessary, so you may want to get rid of some of the reviews. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to show you uh, the activity number 3 that you have. The activity number 2 is something which you're doing right now, which is the creating the business process flow. The activity 3 is something where you write to add the owner details. Okay, so write down each stage of your process in the table below, the one which you have on the screen. Then identify who is responsible for each stage and their department or role. Okay, so to create a streamline diagram, you first need to work out who is responsible for each task in the process. So if you're doing something on already on the machine, okay, just write down next to the box that you have created. All right, and to do this, assign each person involved in the process in a horizontal row or a swim lane, and then map, create a flow where it says that, okay, so this particular box is supposed to be carried forward by this particular individual. Okay, Vinod ji asking, what if it's one man army as of now? So in that case, you can just create this process flow, right? I understand it's for all solopreneurs, it's a one man army. So in that case, just create a business flow, the entire process flow, and you don't have to put in any name because it's one person. All right. So for our process, this is how it looks. So remember, we have mentioned all the activities there, right? So again, each activities I have mentioned the name of the person and the departments or the role that department and the role that they are playing. Right. So for defining market, Mr. Anil Kumar is responsible and he is a sales director. Likewise, proposal and pricing, Mr. Keith Nielsen is a person who's responsible and he's a senior BD business development manager. For solution offering, need understanding, and company introduction, Ms. Ami Shah would play a role, who's a business development manager. So write down this. So this is the activity 3 in your workbook. Once you are done, just write ready. Okay, Shazrin, sir, I'm with you as of now, but I haven't received the file. Can you share with me later? Let me do that. I think you need, Shazrin, if you are on the mobile phone, it's very difficult. Just, I'm putting you my email address, right? You can just put me an email asking for this file and I'll send it to you. This is my email address. All right. So just send me an email if you want to send an email right now. And let me see if I can send you the email right away. Okay, so guys, if you're ready with the owner's details, just type down ready. Okay, I'm responding to Shazrin. I'm just sending you an email. File attached. Just confirm once you received that. Okay, couple of people are ready. We'll wait for 2 minutes and we'll move to the next step. Satish Banushal is ready. Mr. Nair is ready. Samir is ready. Jaya Lutharia is ready. Okay. Just drop me an email if you're looking for a particular that particular file that I'm in talks. Yes, Mr. Bala, I'm just sending you this file through the email. My activity sheet was step by step. I haven't done the process map. Is that the correct to do, please. Okay, so Padmini, you are supposed to write the activities in a linear way. When you create a process flow, that will be in the boxes that I showed. Right? Let me show you that boxes once again. These are the boxes I'm talking about. Satish says Word file shows some error. Bala, I have already sent it to you. All right, so Padmini, you're doing the performance appraisal. Perfect. I'll show you one of the performance appraisal system that we have created at the end of the session today. The similar process that we have created for one of the organizations. Sure, that is okay. All right, so let's move to the next. All right. So once you have mapped your process into a streamline diagram, you can use it to identify the areas for improvement. Okay, that is the step number 4. So this is step number 3. This step number 4. So what I've done, that this is how my flowchart would look. So what I've done it, with each box I have written that who's responsible. Okay, I just mentioned the role of the individual. You can put the name of the individual as well. Guys, can you see my screen? Okay. All right. So the next step is the analyzing the process. Okay. So you may want to start considering the following questions: whether are there any gaps or missing steps in the process that I've created? Is there any duplication or overlap where different people or departments perform the same task? Okay. Are there any areas where employees or customer get frustrated? You may want to circle that particular place. Where do costs go up or down, or quality go up? Which steps takes the most time? You may want to put down that these particular step takes a lot of time, so you may want to have that. You may want to write are there any bottlenecks or the areas where people are already working at full capacity and cannot take any additional demand. Okay, it says the screen is not visible. Let me stop sharing and restart. All right. Now can you all see the chat? I mean the screen? Okay. Perfect. Just type down chat yes in the system. Okay. All right. So everyone can see the chat. All right. Okay. So here you need to analyze the process that you have created. Okay. So when you identified a problem, you need to find out what's causing it. Now, at times we don't know what's causing the problem. Okay, and for that you may want to use certain tools called root cause analysis or 5 whys, or speak to people. As I said at the beginning, you need to speak to people who are actually doing it, who are actually involved in doing this particular the process that you wish to create. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how it looks. Okay, so in the one which I had created, this is how it looks. Okay, I could see that the ownership and the layout is not clear and it's not easy to understand. There is a decisive point of yes or no. I'll show you which point is decisive. uh, okay, here it says lead generation, qualified lead generation. Now here it can be whether the lead generation is happening or not. If it's not happening, ideally it should go back to training the the team on the specific domain that we are looking at. Okay, follow-up steps are missing. Sales follow-up steps are very important, which are missing here. The next one is referral to the new market. Now if you see here in this, after red also there is this green line which says repeat business and referral, and it's there's nothing after the referral. So if there is nothing after the referral, if the process ends at referral, then this red box should be at the referral. Okay, so there is that particular is one of the mistake. And there is no process of customer satisfaction survey or customer delight understanding. Now, so these are some of the changes that we need to put it into this particular workbook. So activity number 4. So this is how the business process for the sales looks like, when it comes to the process improvement activity. Okay. Okay, so the next step is redesigning the process. When I say redesigning the process, so now what you're supposed to do, that whatever changes that you have made so far, you need to use the same, new changes, add it into the particular the process that you have created, and redesign the process. Okay, and once you redesign the process, it looks something like this. Now, I understand that this is very fine business process model that you can see, but since we have time constraint, I've just directly showed you. So if you see this particular option, this particular box was a square, okay, which I have converted into the decision one, which says lead generation or the qualified lead generation is happening or not. If it's not happening, it should go back to the training part. If it's happening, then go to the initial presentation. Along with that, if you see here, I have mentioned the department who are responsible for here, right? And it says that, okay, it ends here after the purchase or the account finalization happens, the execution happens. We are supposed to work on the rapport enhancement with the customer. We need to work on the customer delight and customer experience. Then only we can get the repeat business. Then we may get the referral. Once we get the referral, again it's connected, which says again define the market whether this referral is useful to us or no. Okay, so this is how the sales business process looks like. Okay, now the process implementation. Now that's the next particular step, which is the last step. Okay, and trust me, rolling out new process can be a project in itself. You need to make sure that everyone involved knows what they need to do. Plus, all stakeholders should be involved. Changing your process will likely to involve updating, some of the systems or templates or maybe software that you've been using. So you need to make sure that you have all the resources in place before you go. So now in the workbook, the activity 6 says now just write down resources needed for the improvements. Oh, sorry, the implementation. I'm sorry, this is the mistake. It should be improvement. It should be implementation. All right, and this is how it looks. So I mentioned three implementation, the resources. So first one is we need to prepare a list of change in the system or the formats or the templates or any other operational changes that's going to happen after designing this business process. Okay, because this is something which we need to inform people. Okay, the next one is we need to have final approval from the all the stakeholders. Okay, and final approval from the management. Now, so this is the activity 6. So consider running a pilot of your own, or the new updated process before you make the final transition into it. This will help you to smooth out any problems and get people buy into it. In every and any organization, you will find some people who are resistant to the new processes or the change, especially those people who have been following the old process from the years and years, or maybe from long time. So for them, there are certain tools like change curve or the 8-step change model can help. You may want to try that. And my experience says that those two models always works, and it overcomes the resistance to change. Okay, so these are the 5 steps. I'll just quickly take you back. The 5 steps: identify the objectives and the key activities. The next one is create a process map. Third one is use swim lane diagrams to add details. The fourth one is analyze the process and redesign if required. And the last one is implement the process. As we said, the implementation of process itself can be a project. Right, so we started with something like this where we identified that these are the activities involved. Then we put it into the easy to understand, or the way we understand, flowchart. Then we added the owner's details where we wrote down that which activities who's performed by who, and that person belongs to which department and what is the role of that particular individual. Then what we did, we added the names next to the particular boxes. Then we added that what are the process improvement, what things are missing from the one which we have on the screen. And then we have added the process improvements. Then we redesigned the process and it's something looks like this. All right, so right. So, guys, the key takeaway for you is that every organization relies on efficient business process to ensure that work gets done on time and to the highest standard also. But when processes aren't efficient, it can result in mistakes. As I said, it wastes time and energy. So it's essential that you review and refine your process regularly. To do this, you first need to map out your processes using flowcharts. Use the big chart papers. If you want to do it in the big teams, if you have, and try the streamline diagrams. This will help you to see how all different pieces fit together. Some of the pieces may not be required, some of the pieces may have to be added. And it will also make it easier for you to identify problems such as the bottlenecks or the duplication or maybe missing parts of the process. So you should also gather feedback from the people once you use the process and offer them the solution. Okay, and once you have finalized the process, you can begin to roll it out. And before you do this, you need to make sure that everyone is buying that new business process, because if the senior people are not accepting it, or your team members are not accepting, the business process will not work. Okay, so be sure to monitor the rollout of the new process to ensure that it works and that it meets everybody's expectation. So that's all I have from my end. Yes, Samir, that's one of the models. So there are many models that we have available, many models. All right. So okay. So any questions? You can just type down the questions in your chat box, and let's see if I can answer. You can just put me into the private chat as well. Any questions? If you have questions, just type yes and then start the question. So I'll wait for your question. Okay. All right. So I'll wait for your question, Harsh. Anyone else who has questions? Okay. Since it's required time, can we do it later and send? Absolutely. You can do that. Yes, Shazrin. If you have a question, just type it down here. so everyone else can get benefit of the answer. Okay, I was not able to open the Word file. Samir, I'll send you, just send me an email on the, let me put my email address here. Okay, how do I verify if the process is being followed? Okay, so Harsh, once, and that's why I said that you need to have everyone's buy-in for the process. Once that is done, once the process is rolled out, you need to have, ideally you need to have the audit done on this process, where the defined process, they need to create the evidences and show, then only you will come to know whether this process are being followed or not. Okay. What is the difference between this process design and thinking process? Can you elaborate more, Jaya? Are you talking about the design thinking as a process? Because design thinking, it works, where there are abstract issues. Okay, design thinking, yes. So yes, yeah. So what happens? The design thinking works when it's a 6 steps process. When you evaluate, it's more of PDCA. You plan, do, check, act, plan, do, check, act, and then come out with the answers. Right. Okay. As I'm an HR department and designing of KRAs, KPIs, designing training calendar and creating HR manual. Uh, Shazrin, you need to complete your question. Audit, Harsh, audit is equal to reporting? No, audit is a kind of evidence-based discussion that you have. So let's say if we are in the process, let me go back. All right. So here, if you see, you may want to have certain templates created. So now let's say for the market research or the lead generation, if the number of leads are not created in the as per the expectations, so you may have the report for the lead generation. You may want to have a report for the training for the sales team. You may want to have a report, not may, you should have a report for how many presentation or the introduction emails were sent, how many times the follow-ups or the calls were done, how many solutions were offered, what is the problem from proposal and pricing, and it's not moving for the closing the account. So you may want to create multiple check boxes or this for to ensure that the process is being followed. Right. Shazrin, you need to complete your question. You said, as I'm from the HR department and designing of KRS, KPIs, designing of training calendars and creating HR manual. So what about it? So can you complete the question? Harsh, did I answer your question? Harsh Kopkar. Thank you. Absolutely, Shazrin, you can use this. So let me just show you one of the process for the one of my clients that we have designed for the performance management. Give me 1 minute, okay? Just 1 minute. I'll see if I can show you that. Milan, I may have to leave meeting for now. Thanks so much. Quite insightful. Thank you, Jaya. Thank you very much. You may want to put an email to me if you need any information. Just give me 1 minute, okay? Shazreen. Okay, meanwhile, just people, you can just put down your questions if you have any. Well, I'm just waiting for. All right. This is we have created for one of my clients, and you can see the standard operating procedure for business performance or the performance management. So this is what we have created. I mean, it's still on the way for the finish. So you'll see it here. This is the one. All right. Any more question, guys? I'm here to answer your questions. Just put it in the chat if you have any questions. Shazrin, I think we can connect, post this session. Anyone else who have questions? All right. All right. And these are some of my next webinars. Next week, I'm going to take a session on transformation leadership. The week after that, the session will be on building the influences. On 20th June, I'm taking a session on leadership styles. These are the sessions which are planned so far for 27th June also. So I usually take sessions every Saturday. All right. I'll be announcing, I'll be sending an email for the registration. So please do register. And these are my contacts, my coordinates. That's my email address, my mobile phone number, and the website that we have. All right. Thank you very much. We are 2 minutes above the scheduled time. If you have any questions, just put an email to me. You have my number. It's the same number I have on the WhatsApp, so you may want to do that. And if at all you wish to contact for any particular topic on which you want me to take a session, we'll see if I can do that. Thank you very much for your time. I look forward to seeing you next week at 4:30 p.m. Thank you very much. Bye bye.